Hi guys, welcome back to my Closet Confession podcast. I'm your hostess Maria, and today we're gonna talk about living in Miami versus living in LA. So a little bit of backstory. I loved living in LA. I never thought that I was gonna try to live in another state. I was happy, complete here, and it was until COVID happened, and there was a lot of restrictions. The weather sucked. I started getting a little bit depressed and I needed something new. But I had no idea what other state live in. I wasn't interested in living in another state. Like, I've visited New York and Vegas, but I couldn't really see myself living there. So I prayed. I mentioned on my previous video that I believe in Jesus and God. So I prayed and I asked for a change. One night, looking at some stories, a friend of mine and she happened to be in Miami, and I texted her, and I'm like, "Wow, that's like a throwback." And she goes, "No, this is actually happening right now in Miami." And I was like, "You guys are doing bottle service?" And because we had COVID here, we couldn't even go sit at a bar at that time. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna email. I found a restaurant in Miami, a Greek restaurant, and I emailed them my resume. And I was like, hey, I'm from Greece, but I live in LA, and there's no really work right now over here. So, yeah, I would love to come to Miami and work for you guys. But I didn't really think anything about it. I just send it. And there I am one night, sitting with my sister and my brother-in-law. And I think that was like a couple weeks later. And I get a phone call from a Miami number. And I'm like, what is this? I totally forgot about submitting or applying and emailing them. So I answer, and the guy says in Greek, "Tikanis." And I'm like, Orestes? I'm like, how did you get my number? So Orestes is a friend from Greece that I've known for years, and he lives in Miami right now. And he's like, how did I get your number? He said, you send me your resume. And I go, wait a second. I sent one resume to one restaurant. And then, yeah, he's like, I'm the general manager over there. And I'm like, what are the chances, So he goes, pack your shit. You're moving to Miami. And I'm like, wait, what? Is this really happening? Like, what? Anyway, so I told him, okay, listen, I need to come and visit first because, I don't want to make the same mistake when I moved to London without visiting. So he's like, okay, yeah, you want to come visit Miami, as if you're not going to like it. So, okay, so then I went to visit for like a couple of days, and it was like a no-brainer for me. I loved the vibe. I loved the weather, the beach, the energy. It just made so much sense to me to move there at the time. And yeah, so moved there, and then the craziness started. So I'm a bartender, and my industry is unfortunately very corrupted over there. You jump from one place to another, trying to find an establishment that they're fair when it comes to payments. Because a lot of people don't know that, but if you're a bartender or a server, you don't get paid hourly, or if you do, it's like $2. And then there's gratuity. But the gratuity doesn't belong to the servers or the bartenders. It belongs to the establishment because they enforce it. It's something that people don't know, and they think that, oh yeah, gratuity is included, so we don't need to tip more. So you pretty much end up working hours and making really, really little money. So a lot of bartenders struggle with that. Like, they jump from one place to another, and it's like the same thing everywhere. It's very rare that you find a place that the payments are on time, they're fair, you know exactly what you're making, you know exactly what you're getting from the gratuity, and that is very transparent. That's very, very rare. So another thing, the first year I enjoyed the weather, the beach, but I was even on the beach. So you've got Miami and you got Miami Beach, and over there the life is very laid back. And the driving is all right. But it was until I moved to Little Haiti, which is Miami. And I don't know what's wrong with people over there. It's traumatizing driving in Miami. Traumatizing. Like I had a car and I wanted to Uber everywhere. Terrified to go on the freeway, terrified to drive longer than like 10 miles. The stuff that I've seen, and I lived in LA. A lot of people complain about LA, but honestly, after coming back from Miami, I'm like, it's fine. I can deal with that. People make mistakes. I get it, but they're not aggressive. They follow rules, you know? So yeah, driving was not the best. Traffic is not as bad. Traffic, I have to admit that it's not like LA. But then again, it's smaller, you know. Miami is smaller than the South Bay. So you can understand the difference between sizes. So yeah, I would say traffic, okay, Miami wins on that one. Then another thing that really, really discouraged me to live there and made me come back to LA, it's the people. And I say that because I live in LA, so a lot of people know there's like superficial, you know, everybody's about the looks. Really? Really? Wait until you get to Miami. I'm talking, it's all the look and zero substance. And I'm not like that. I like meeting people. I like talking, you know, about different things. It's not just money. And in Miami, it's either money, going out, partying, and drugs. That's all it is. So I really miss that connection with people. I really miss making friendships, relationships, social circle that you can have like a decent conversation apart from clubbing and going out. So I really, really struggle with that because I am a people's person and I miss that. I miss having friends. So I started feeling depressed again, once again. And I tried to come back a few years ago, didn't make it. And then when my twin sister and her husband decided to move back to LA, then I'm like, this is the time. What else? Well, I do prefer the Miami weather. I know you guys are gonna call me crazy. I love the heat. What can I say? Love the heat. I don't mind the humidity, honestly. I love when it pours because it's still warm outside. I just love it. And I love wearing summer clothes all year round. I don't really care about winter. Okay, unless it's Christmas time. Christmas time, I missed it. I missed regular Christmases. I live in LA, you know, it gets a little colder. You wear some jackets and, you know, it just has the Christmassy vibe, atmosphere. In Miami, not so. And we try to go to all these like little Christmas things that they do, like the Winter Wonderland or whatever, but it just didn't feel like Christmas. And it was mostly like playing reggaeton on the background anyways. Another thing that really discouraged me living in Miami is people don't want to speak the language. And I just don't get it. Because I live in LA and obviously there's a lot of people from Mexico, but they want to integrate. They want to become Americans. They want to speak the language. They're proud to be Americans. In Miami, I don't really understand. You want to come to another country for a better lifestyle, better conditions, but you're so obnoxious about not being American. Like I am proud of being Greek, but I'm also proud of living in the States and becoming American and more Americanized. So that didn't make sense to me. And I had people telling me, you should speak Spanish. I'm like, I do love the language. Don't get me wrong. And it's very similar to Greek, so it's easier to learn it. But I just don't like it that they expect everybody to speak English just because it's Miami. Because if you go like a little north, it's normal. It's just like America. Miami, it does not feel like the US. It feels like its own thing. A mix of like Cuba and I don't know, Colombia in US land, I guess. Yeah, there's another thing that I would go to services like the DMV and they expected me to speak Spanish. So it makes it real hard, especially when you have to get things done, call a plumber or services. So it does make my experience really, really difficult in Miami. What else? Okay, you go to Beverly Hills, you see a bunch of like very, very expensive cars, but people own them. In Miami, you see Lamborghinis and Ferraris everywhere, but they're actually all rented. Nobody really owns them. So you've got people that they care so much about, you know, what they drive, what they wear, but they don't even own it. It's like fake money. They wanted to show a fake identity, which is not them. So they're so obsessed with looks. And so, yeah, so it's the combination of all those things that I mentioned earlier that made me decide to come back to LA. And don't get me wrong, like, I miss it. I miss it every day. But I miss the weather, I miss the beach, I miss the energy. I don't know, it feels like half of my heart just left there and the rest is here. But I know that my work is very important and having my family and my friends, it is very important for me to be happy. So I have to sacrifice the weather and the beach. But I guess you cannot have it all. So if you are planning on moving to Miami, I would say that go visit first and then see what your priorities are. If that's family and friends and your job, maybe you have to reconsider. But if you do something online and you don't really care about, you already have friends there, or you already have a husband or a wife or a girlfriend, and you guys move there together, I guess it's going to be a little bit easier. But for sure, visit, spend a little bit of time, and I hope you're okay with with floods and a little rain, because that's gonna be a big one for you. Okay, you guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you found it fun, but also educational. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.